introducing the recipient of the Outstanding Elected Official Award, Senator Jack Kibbie. As we all know, Jack is President of the Senate, in fact, the longest-serving Senate President in Iowa history. So this evening, we're saluting Jack as a great Democrat, but truth be told, he has a stature in the state of Iowa that transcends party and partisanship. In fact, he has achieved that rarefied status where he is referred to not as a politician, but as an elder statesman. And of course, first and foremost, he is respected all across our state, as you saw from Rob Henson, as a creator, patron, and tireless champion of Iowa's great community college system. Not bad for a farm boy from Palo Alto County who never went to college. In fact, maybe it was because Jack didn't have the opportunity to go to college that he was so driven to make sure that other Iowans of modest means would have that opportunity. In 1965, as a freshman senator, he introduced and floor managed the bill establishing Iowa's community college system. That system began with a modest enrollment of 9,000. Thanks to Jack's leadership and continuing patronage of the community college system, it has flourished into a system of 15 colleges serving more than 155,000 students in every corner of the state. This will forever stand as Jack Kibbie's great legacy, a living legacy that will enrich and empower Iowans far into the future. Another living legacy of Jack Kibbie, and often overlooked because he's so noted for what he did for our community college system, is his leadership in ensuring that the Iowa Public Employment Retirement System, IPERS, is rock solid, one of the best funded public pension funds in the United States of America. Again, that's Jack Kibbie. And I don't think there's anyone in Iowa who's been more persistent and determined, going back many years, in championing alternative fuels such as ethanol and biodiesel and wind energy. And again, due to his hard work and leadership, Iowa is now #1 in the nation in producing biofuels in the United States. In no small measure, thanks to Jack Kibbie. So I've mentioned Jack's service to Iowa, but I cannot close without mentioning his service to our nation during the Korean War. In 1951, with the war to speak, Jack left his farm to join the Army. He served as a tank commander in Korea, earning the Bronze Star for service beyond the call of duty in combat. The Emmitsburg newspaper, on April the 23rd, 1953, ran a story on Jack titled, quote, "The Best Sniper in Korea," and subtitled, "Can Pick Off Reds Firing Big Tank Gun." Well, Jack, I'm sure glad you're on our side. So tonight, 6 decades later, we salute Sergeant Jack Kibbie, now Senate President Jack Kibbie. And Jack, we thank you, and it would be remiss if I didn't also thank Kay for all of your service to our state, our nation, and our government.
Thank you very much. All distinguished Democrats, one and all. And thank you, Governor Patrick, for joining us here tonight. And Senator Harkin, thank you, and for all the good years that you've served us in Congress. And you talked about a lot about Health and Humans Committee. I want to thank you as a farmer for one of the best farm bills ever passed as chair of the Ag Committee. You know, it's a great honor for me to be here. It's been a long road, and none of us that get recognized can't do anything by ourselves. It takes all of you. And I got involved as a county chairman in Palo Alto County in 1954 with the encouragement of my mother. And as county chairman, of course, it's your job to get the ticket full. And in them days, every county had a legislator. And so I couldn't find anybody to run for the legislature. So to meet the deadline, I said, I'll put my name on the ballot. And in the meantime, I'll find somebody and get off of that. And that didn't happen. So in 1960, John F. Kennedy running for president, Iowa Democrats did not do very good. You know, you talked about Johnson County and Polk County. John F. Kennedy carried 5 counties in Iowa out of the 99. One of them was mine. And the other 4 was Chickasaw, Dubuque, Wapello, and Carroll. And then, so I served in 1961, 29 Democrats out of 108 in the House. That dropped from 48 down to 29 as a result of that election. And in 62, Harold Hughes got elected as governor on liquor by the drink, primarily. And but the House did not gain 1 Democrat. Not the same 29, but 29. And then came 1964. And in 64, in the mid-year, we had a special session of the legislature called by the courts that Iowa reapportion in some way to meet the 1 man, 1 vote. And a person that was just mentioned earlier, Minette Doder, was elected in a special election. So the House, so we could have a full members for that special election. The result of that special election, we increased the size of the House to 124. And the size of the Senate, I believe, to 59. And all the corners were full of desks, those of you that been over there. And then came the 64 election. How many Democrats did we elect in 1964? We went from 29 to 101. Some always did. They signed their name on an affidavit to get their name on the ballot, never knocked on 1 door, never raised 1 dime. There was a few thought they even got elected to Congress. It's tough for me to read with no life. I've always had trouble reading though. But anyway, in 1964, then I ran for the Senate in 1964. And of course we got a big majority. And my good friend Bob Fulton was lieutenant governor. Andy Frommel was the majority leader, and they asked me to chair the education committee, and which a lot of eyes rolled, and maybe for good reason. But that committee, we met for 6 solid weeks, 4 days a week at 7:30 every morning until the session started at 9. To come up with what was known as the Merged Area School Bill. Harold Hughes campaigned in 64 on having 4 voc tech schools in Iowa, state-owned and state-operated. So my plea at that time, I represented the Senate, Emmett County, Palo Alto, they each had a junior college. They're primarily arts and science schools. 16 of them in Iowa. So, and they were operated by the K-12 schools. And many of them were dropping their junior college because they couldn't afford them. If you want to think about this, they got $1.25 a day state aid for each junior college student, and they got it after the fact, after the year end. So that's a predicament that we were facing, and so that's kind of how it got started. And of course, with big Democratic majority, looking for something to do and people to help, but there was not one. We had lots of votes over those 6 weeks, and on the floor we debated it 3 days. There was not one partisan vote. Try that today, folks. And the bill, as you know, is very broad and very successful. And no one person, no Jack Kibbie, or none of you out there. It takes a group, it takes 26 in the Senate, it takes 51 in the House, and it takes a governor's signature. So that, in my next experience, and many of you gray-haired people remember the National Convention in 1968 in Chicago, Vietnam War. There's been books written about it. I had the privilege of serving on the platform committee with a person that many of you know in Democratic politics, Dagmar Vidal. You remember, Senator. But anyway, it's been my privilege over the years to go through 9 elections in the rural, not as conservative as some, but never had a free ride. So, over the years we've fought a lot of battles, won some and lost some. But the work I've done for K-12 education, preschool, regents, and most importantly, the community colleges. This party has stood behind public education at every level. And this new group, call them Tea Party, call them whatever you want, reactionary, they're going to ruin, in my opinion, the public school system as we know it. And of course, as has been mentioned, renewable fuels. It started, every meeting I went to in this nation, they talk about Minnesota and Brazil. So I said, why can't we do that in Iowa? I tried many times. But we have passed a lot of legislation to help ethanol, biodiesel, wind, go on down the line. Right now, just pick up your local papers, read what's going on in Washington, D.C. Big oil is alive and well. And they're trying to take away the renewable fuel standard. They're trying to take away all the incentives for ethanol and biodiesel. And ethanol is the backbone of this state's economy. And all the related things that intertwine with that, with ag income, it's all tied, in my opinion, $5, $6 corn, whatever you want to call it, is ethanol. And over the years, and I worked in lots of campaigns with Berkeley Vidal and others, and they always talked about farmers vote their pocketbooks. Well, they've always voted for Democrats when their pocketbooks were empty. Let's see if they'll vote for Democrats when their pocketbooks are full. You got to. And the workmen, I've been on state government committee, and that's the committee that deals with pensions, and everything fits in state government that don't fit anywhere else. But the work that we've done for public employees, this all started in the early 90s, and on their pension system, as been already stated, our pension system is in wonderful shape. Sure, it could be better, but it's fair to the taxpayers, and it's fair to the public employees that can retire with dignity, and it's a model for the rest of the nation. As this session ended, we worked with the Republican House and governor. But we were able to establish, and I started early on this, to get money for a skilled workforce training. We didn't get everything we wanted, but we ended up with an appropriation to get skilled workforce in the shortage areas. And this money does not go to the institution to keep the doors open. This goes to the students to buy down tuition fees. And it's long, long overdue. Because that's the backbone of our economic development in this state. You know, my colleagues since 2005 have picked me to be the president of the Senate, and I really appreciate that. But we've had this last 2 years, we've had 26 in the Senate. And it takes 26 to do anything. And we've had the best team that I've ever witnessed in my career in politics. Mike Ronstall's name has already been mentioned a couple of times. I'll tell you, he's a master. He can keep more balls in the air than anybody I've ever seen at the same time. And those of you that work with him know that. So, and he knows more about state government, in my opinion, than anybody in state government in all three branches. So anyway, it's been such an accomplishment and such a privilege for me to do what I've done in go through 9 elections. And before I forget it entirely, I better introduce my family. These 2 tables right here, please stand. And they've knocked on a lot of doors for their dad. So anyway, it's great to be here, and Sue, what a wonderful county chair.
Yeah.
And what she's done in this state to get people aware of what this election and future elections are all about. And especially, and I've haunted her about this some, and that's getting out to the rural counties. And we've got a wonderful set of candidates out there. And so what all of you got to do, along with the rest of us, is get out there and elect more members to the House and keep a majority in the Iowa Senate. And the county elections are equally as important, because every elected official ought to serve as a county chairman once. You really know what Democratic politics is all about. And people have asked me, you know, hey, well, what are you going to do? Well, this is kind of a family, and I'm going to be seeing and do what I can to get Democrats elected, and especially one that sits 3 tables out here in front of me, and that's Christy Vilsack. And also my colleagues in the Senate, and especially Mike Ronstall. Mike Ronstall. I don't know how many shelves of Fort Knox they're going to unload in Potawatomi County, but several. And so, and this note from Joe Biden, I haven't opened up. Tom says I won't be able to read it, but Joe stayed at our house in Emmitsburg, and we went down for coffee the next day, and the coffee crowd was there every morning. 8 out of 10 of them Republicans. And they had a great fun with Joe, and Joe had a great time with them. And so I want to thank everybody that's had anything to do with this event, and a great bunch of Democrats. And go Democrats, let's win. We've got a great